The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chamber stretched above thousands of floating seats. Each seat held a different alien species, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Some breathed methane, others lived in water tanks, and a few existed as pure energy contained in glowing spheres. Today marked 1,000th year since the last Great Review, when the Council examined every known civilization in their galaxy. Ambassador Thylex of the Zephyrian hegemony adjusted his forearms and activated his speaking device. His blue skin shimmered as he addressed the assembly. We must discuss the minor species before moving to more pressing matters. The review list shows 237 civilizations that achieved space travel in the last millennium. A collective sigh echoed through the chamber's translation systems. Most council members found these reviews boring. The truly important species had already joined the council long ago. What remained were usually primitive worlds that either destroyed themselves or never developed beyond basic space travel. Let us begin with the humans from Sol 3, Thylex announced. A holographic image appeared in the center of the chamber, showing a small blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. Council member Vrex, whose snake-like body coiled around his floating platform, hissed softly. I remember them. They achieved faster-than-light travel 300 years ago, made contact with our border stations, requested basic star charts and diplomatic protocols, then vanished. Vanished? Asked Councilor Neem, her insect-like mandibles clicking with curiosity. Did they destroy themselves in war? Most young species do. No evidence of self-destruction, Thylex replied, checking his datapad. Our scouts report seeing human ships in remote systems occasionally. Always single vessels. Never fleets or colonies. They seem to avoid other species entirely. An elderly counselor named Zorn spoke from his water tank, his tentacles waving slowly. Perhaps they fear us? Young species often become frightened when they discover how vast the galaxy truly is. Several council members made sounds of agreement. This pattern was common among new civilizations. Some became aggressive and warlike. Others retreated into isolation, too scared to venture far from their home worlds. What kind of ships do they use? Asked Councilor Neem. Basic designs, Rex answered. Simple faster-than-light drives, minimal weapons, standard life support systems. Nothing impressive. Their technology appears to have barely improved since first contact. Typical, muttered Councilor Hosh, whose rocky skin made grinding sounds as he moved. They probably reached their technological limit. Many species hit a wall and stop advancing. Thylex nodded and made a note on his device. Shall we classify humans as isolated non-threat and move on? Wait, said a voice from the back. Councilor Yith, who rarely spoke during meetings, floated forward on her energy platform. My trade vessels have encountered humans in the Outer Rim territories. They were not hiding. What were they doing? Thylex asked. Helping, Yith replied simply. A human medical ship assisted during the plague outbreak on Kepler 442b last decade. They appeared without being asked, provided medical supplies, then left without requesting payment or territorial rights. Vrex's serpentine head tilted. Helping? That makes no sense. What did they gain? Nothing visible, Yith admitted. But they saved thousands of lives. Councilor Hosh made a dismissive rumble. Probably missionaries. Some species try to spread their beliefs to other worlds. Harmless but annoying. I disagree, said Councilor Neem. My scouts report humans sharing water purification technology with drought-stricken colonies in the Beta Sector. Again, they asked for nothing in return. Even more strange, Rex hissed. No species gives away valuable technology for free. There must be some hidden motive. Perhaps they are studying us, suggested Zorn from his tank. Gathering information about our weaknesses. With single ships and medical supplies? Thylex's tone showed doubt. If humans wanted to spy on us, they would need much larger operations. Besides, what could such a primitive species learn that would threaten advanced civilizations like ours? Nothing, Hosh said firmly. We are overthinking this. Humans are clearly a minor species that will either remain isolated forever or eventually asked to join the Council as junior members. They pose no threat to anyone. Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Most Council members had already lost interest in the human discussion. They had real problems to worry about. Speaking of real threats, Thylex said, his voice becoming serious, we must address the Vorthan Empire's continued expansion. Their forces conquered 2 more systems last month. The mood in the chamber immediately darkened. Unlike the humans, the Vorthans were a genuine concern. Their empire had grown rapidly over the past 50 years, using advanced weapons and ruthless tactics to conquer weaker civilizations. They showed no interest in joining the Council or following galactic law. The Vorthans destroyed the entire population of Traxel 7 when they refused to surrender, reported Vrex. 15 billion lives lost in a matter of hours. Their weapons technology surpasses anything in our defensive fleets, added Councilor Neem. Every engagement with our peacekeeping forces has resulted in defeat. Zorn's tentacles moved anxiously. Intelligence reports suggest they are developing even more powerful weapons, planet-killing devices that could threaten our core worlds. We need better strategies, Thylex declared. Our military commanders must find weaknesses in Vorthan tactics. What military commanders? Hosh asked bitterly. Half our best generals are dead. The other half refused to engage Vorthan forces after so many failures. The council chamber fell silent. Everyone understood the situation was becoming desperate. The Vorthan Empire seemed unstoppable, while the council's forces grew weaker with each defeat. Perhaps we should consider negotiation, suggested Councilor Yith quietly. Negotiation? Rex's voice rose in anger. The Vorthans have made their position clear. Submit or die. They want the entire galaxy under their control. Then we must find new allies, Zorn said. Surely some species would join us against this threat. Who? Thylex asked. Most civilizations are either too weak to help or too scared to fight. The few species with strong militaries are already considering surrender. The discussion continued for hours, but no solutions emerged. The Council faced its greatest crisis in thousands of years, and their options seemed limited to defeat or surrender. As the session ended, most Council members had forgotten entirely about the quiet species from Solta 3. Humans remained classified as isolated non-threat. In the official records, none of them suspected that this quiet species might hold the key to their salvation. 30 years had passed since the last Great Review, but the Galactic Council chamber felt very different now. Many seats sat empty. Some species had fled to distant galaxies. Others had surrendered to the growing darkness that consumed more worlds each month. The remaining council members gathered with fear in their hearts. Ambassador Thylex looked older now. His once bright blue skin had faded to pale gray, and his forearms trembled as he called the emergency session to order. These meetings happened almost daily now, but they never brought good news. The Vorthan Empire has taken 12 more systems, he announced, his voice heavy with despair. The Andorian Federation surrendered yesterday without firing a single shot. The Crystalline Collective evacuated their homeworld rather than fight. Councilor Vrex coiled tighter around his platform. His serpentine body bore scars from the last military engagement he had personally led against Vorthan forces. Our intelligence reports estimate Vorthan's strength at over 10,000 warships now. each one capable of destroying entire fleets. How is this possible? Demanded Counselor Neem, her mandibles clicking anxiously. 30 years ago, they were just another aggressive species. Now they threaten the entire galaxy. Their technology advances faster than ours, explained Zorn from his water tank. Every ship they capture, every world they conquer, they steal new knowledge and improve their weapons. Meanwhile, our species spend time arguing instead of innovating. Counselor Hosh made a grinding sound of frustration. His rocky skin showed cracks from stress. We have lost 70% of our peacekeeping fleet. The remaining ships refuse to engage Vorthan forces. Our pilots know it means certain death. Can we blame them? Yith asked quietly. The last battle at Proxima Station lasted 6 minutes. 6 minutes, and 3,000 of our finest warriors died while destroying only 2 enemy ships. Thylex activated a holographic display showing the galaxy map. Red zones marked Vorthan territory, spreading like a disease across the spiral arms. Blue zones showed Council space, shrinking steadily toward the core worlds. At current expansion rates, Vorthan forces will reach our capital systems within 10 years, he said. Our military advisors recommend evacuation protocols for non-essential populations. Evacuation? Rex hissed in anger. We are the Galactic Council. We have maintained peace for 10,000 years. We do not run from barbarians. These are not ordinary barbarians, Neem replied sadly. The Vorthans use psychological warfare too. They broadcast the destruction of conquered worlds to frighten other species. They want surrender, not just victory. Reports had reached the Council of Vorthan Tactics. Entire populations enslaved or eliminated. Planets stripped of resources until nothing remained but dead rock. Cultural heritage destroyed, languages forbidden, histories erased. The Vorthans did not just conquer territory. They erased civilizations completely. Perhaps we could offer them something, suggested Zorn hesitantly. Surely they want more than just destruction. They want everything, Thylex answered. Complete submission to their empire. All other species become slaves or die. Our scouts intercepted communications from their leadership. They call it the final solution for galactic peace. By making themselves the only species left alive, Hosh added grimly. What about our allies in the Outer Rim? Asked Yith. Some species there still fight independently. The Outer Rim species lack advanced technology, Rex explained. They can hide in remote systems for a while, but they cannot stop the Vorthans either. As if summoned by their conversation, an aide approached Thylex's platform carrying urgent messages. The ambassador read them quickly, his expression growing darker. More reports from the frontier, he announced, but also something unusual. Unusual how? Neem asked. Human ships have been spotted again. Multiple sightings across different systems, all within Vorthan-threatened space. The council members exchanged glances. Most had forgotten about humans during the crisis years. The quiet species from Sol 3 had remained irrelevant while the galaxy burned around them. Are they finally fleeing their territory? Hosh asked. About time they recognized the danger. No, Thylex said, reading more carefully. According to these reports, human ships are moving toward areas of conflict, not away from them. That makes no sense, Rex stated. Why would such a primitive species enter war zones voluntarily? The reports provide some details, Thylex continued. A human hospital ship appeared at the Kepler colony during their evacuation last week. They treated wounded civilians and helped repair damaged transport vessels. Then they vanished before anyone could question them. Missionaries again, Hosh dismissed. Some species cannot resist helping others, even when it accomplishes nothing. There is more, Thylex said. Human engineering teams have been spotted on Vorthan-damaged worlds. They arrive without announcement, repair critical infrastructure, then disappear. Water systems, power plants, communication networks. Always essential services. How do they know where to go? Neem wondered. These damaged worlds do not send distress signals. The Vorthons jam all communications. Unknown, Thylex admitted. But the pattern continues. Human scientists sharing advanced medical treatments with plague survivors. Human technicians teaching improved manufacturing techniques to refugee populations. Always helpful, never asking for anything in return. Yith leaned forward with interest. Do we have estimates of human fleet strength? If they are expanding their activities, perhaps they have built more ships. Our scouts report the same as always, Rex answered. Single ships, basic technology, minimal weapons. Nothing has changed since first contact decades ago. But the range has expanded significantly, Thylex noted. Human ships now operate across thousands of light years. That requires extensive logistics and supply networks. Maybe they established hidden bases, suggested Zorn. Some species prefer secret installations to visible colonies. Possible, Thylex agreed. But our deep space sensors should detect such facilities. Human technology generates recognizable energy signatures. Unless their technology improved, Eve said thoughtfully. Impossible, Hosh declared. We monitored their development for decades. They showed no signs of advanced research capabilities. No major scientific breakthroughs, no military buildup, no expansion beyond their home system. Yet here they are, Thylex pointed out, operating freely in space that terrifies our most advanced species. Coincidence, Rex said dismissively. They'd probably avoid Vorthon patrols through luck and cowardice. Once the Empire notices them, humans will flee like everyone else. Perhaps, Thylex said, though he sounded uncertain. Should we attempt contact? Warn them about the danger? Why waste resources? Hosh asked. Humans made their choice to remain isolated. If they want to risk themselves helping random strangers, that is their decision. Besides, we have bigger problems, Neem added. The Vorthon Empire grows stronger every day while we debate minor species. We need solutions, not distractions. The Council returned to their desperate planning. Emergency evacuation routes, last-stand defensive positions, final negotiations with potential allies. Every option led to the same conclusion. Defeat was inevitable. As the session ended, the scattered reports of human activity were filed away and forgotten. The Council had no time for mysteries when facing extinction. None of them wondered why a supposedly primitive species would risk everything to help strangers in a war zone. None of them questioned how humans could operate successfully in space, where advanced civilizations feared to venture. The galaxy's greatest minds focused on their immediate crisis, never suspecting that salvation might come from the species they had dismissed as irrelevant. The quiet helpers from Sol 3 continued their work, moving through the darkness while empires prepared for the final battle. The message arrived at dawn, transmitted simultaneously to every Council world, every military base, and every civilian communication network in known space. It carried the official seal of the Vorthon Empire, and its contents chilled the blood of billions. Citizens of the galaxy, the message began, spoken by Emperor Vextar himself. His voice carried the cold authority of absolute power. The time for weakness has ended. The Vorthon Empire offers one final opportunity for peace. In the council chamber, emergency alarms wailed as delegates rushed to their seats. Ambassador Thylex's hands shook as he activated the main display screen. Emperor Vextar's image filled the chamber, a towering figure, with metallic skin and glowing red eyes that seemed to stare directly at each viewer. For too long, this galaxy has suffered from chaos, the Emperor continued. Hundreds of species fighting, competing, wasting resources on pointless conflicts. We offer unity under Vorthon rule. Submit willingly, and your populations will be relocated to designated worlds where they can serve productive purposes. Resist and face complete elimination. Councilor Rex coiled so tightly around his platform that stress fractures appeared in the metal. Relocated, he hissed. They mean slavery. You have 72 standard hours to surrender, Emperor Vextar announced. Send your unconditional submission to Vorthan Command. Any species that fails to comply will be designated for termination. The message paused, and technical displays appeared showing a massive space station under construction. The scale was terrifying larger than most moons, bristling with weapon arrays that dwarfed anything in Council records. To demonstrate our resolve, the Emperor said, we unveil the final solution device. This weapon can destroy entire star systems with a single activation. Any world that harbors resistance will be reduced to cosmic dust along with their sun. Gasps of horror echoed through the chamber. Even the most advanced Council species had never developed planet-killing weapons. The power requirements alone should be impossible. We will demonstrate this device in 72 hours, the Emperor concluded. The uninhabited Zeta Reticuli system will serve as our example. Watch carefully and choose wisdom over pride. The message ended, leaving the Council chamber in stunned silence. For long moments, no one spoke. The reality of their situation had become undeniable. 72 hours, Thylex whispered. They are giving us 72 hours to surrender or die. Can we evacuate our core worlds in that time? Asked Councilor Neem, her voice barely audible. Impossible, replied Zorn from his water tank. Moving billions of people requires months of preparation. We could save maybe 1% of our population. What about our military reserves? Suggested Councilor Hosh desperately. Every hidden ship, every secret weapon, everything we have held back? Rex laughed bitterly. Our combined military strength equals perhaps 50 Vorthan warships. They have thousands. And now they have a weapon that can destroy solar systems. The physics should not work, protested Neem. Creating enough energy to destabilize a star requires impossible amounts of matter conversion. Yet they have done it, Thylex said grimly. Our sensors confirm the weapon's existence. How they solved the technical problems does not matter now. Over the next 18 hours, the Council watched their civilization collapse in real time. The Kelvin Republic announced immediate surrender. The Spiral Federation evacuated their homeworlds. 3 minor species committed mass suicide rather than face Vorthan rule. Military commanders resigned rather than lead hopeless final battles. We must face reality, Thylex announced during the emergency session. Resistance means extinction. Perhaps under Vorthan rule, some aspects of our cultures can survive. As slaves, Rex spat. Our children raised to serve their empire. Our history's rewritten to glorify their conquest. Better than no children at all, Zorn said quietly. The debate continued through the night, but everyone understood the outcome. The greatest civilization in galactic history would end with a whimper, not a roar. Forms were prepared for unconditional surrender. Evacuation ships loaded with cultural artifacts and genetic samples, hoping future generations might someday restore what was lost. As the second day dawned, an unexpected message reached Council security. A single ship requested permission to dock with the Council station. The request came from the Earth Diplomatic Corps. Humans, Thylex said with bitter amusement. They want to surrender too, I suppose. Let them come, Rex decided. At least we can warn them what surrender really means. Should we allow them to address the Council? Asked Neem. Why not? Hosh replied with grinding resignation. We have nothing else to discuss except the details of our defeat. 1 hour before the final session, Captain Sarah Chun of the Earth vessel Harmony walked through the Council chamber's corridors. Security escorts flanked her, more from protocol than necessity. She appeared unremarkable average height, brown hair, wearing a simple blue uniform without decorations or rank insignia. The chamber held only 200 delegates now. Most species had already fled or surrendered. Those remaining came to witness the formal end of galactic civilization as they knew it. Captain Chun took her position at the central speaking platform. Around her, alien faces watched with mixtures of curiosity and despair. She appeared calm, almost serene, as if addressing a peaceful scientific conference rather than a death council. "Honorable delegates," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. "Earth acknowledges the grave situation facing all free species." "Grave?" Thylex laughed harshly. "Captain, your people face extinction along with the rest of us. The Vorthans will show no mercy to humans." "We understand the threat," Chun replied. "We have been monitoring Vorthan expansion for decades." "Then you understand why we must surrender," said Rex. "Even combined, our forces cannot match their power." Chun nodded slowly. The conventional approach has indeed failed. Superior technology, larger fleets, traditional military thinking. None of these advantages can overcome Vorthan's strength. "Exactly," Meme said. "So you agree that surrender offers the only hope for survival?" "No," Chun said simply. "Surrender offers slavery, not survival. The Vorthan Empire destroys cultures, not just governments. They will eliminate everything that makes your species unique." "Then what do you propose?" Hosh demanded. "Suicide attacks? Useless gestures of defiance?" Captain Chun smiled, the first emotional expression she had shown since arriving. It was not the smile of someone facing defeat. It carried confidence, even anticipation. "We've been preparing," she said. The full words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Around the chamber, delegates leaned forward in their seats. After days of despair and hopeless planning, someone had spoken of preparation, not surrender. Preparing what? Thylex asked, his voice suddenly sharp with attention. "Preparing for this day," Chun replied. "For 30 years, humanity has known this moment would come. The Vorthans follow predictable patterns. Conquer, consolidate, expand. Eventually, they would threaten the entire galaxy. You knew?" Rex's serpentine body tensed with suspicion. "Why did you not warn the Council?" "Would you have listened?" Chun asked gently. 30 years ago, humans were dismissed as a primitive species. Our warnings would have been ignored. Painful silence filled the chamber. Every delegate remembered the casual dismissal of humanity during past reviews. Chun was absolutely right. "So instead of warning us, you prepared for our failure," Zorn said from his tank. "We prepared for everyone's success," Chun corrected. "Including yours. The plan required all free species to survive." "What plan?" Thylex demanded. Chun activated her personal data device, and new images appeared on the chamber's main display. Not surrender documents or evacuation routes, but detailed tactical analyses, technological specifications, and strategic recommendations. "The plan to win," she said simply. The holographic displays filled the council chamber with information that should not have existed. Detailed schematics of Vorthan warships, complete with weak points and system vulnerabilities. Analysis of their tactical patterns spanning decades. Most shocking of all, technological countermeasures that could actually work against Vorthan weapons. "Where did you obtain this intelligence?" Ambassador Thylex demanded, his forearms reaching toward the data as if he could touch it. "Our best spies could never penetrate Vorthan security." Captain Chun stood calmly at the center of the chamber, surrounded by displays that represented 30 years of careful work. "We did not spy on them. We observed them. Every battle, every conquest, every technological demonstration. Human ships were always nearby, recording and analyzing. Impossible, Counselor Vrex hissed. Vorthan's sensors would detect any observation vessels. Not if those vessels appeared to pose no threat, Chun explained. A medical ship treating wounded refugees draws no suspicion. An engineering crew repairing damaged infrastructure looks harmless. A science vessel sharing agricultural techniques seems innocent. The pieces began falling into place for Counselor Neem. Her mandibles clicked rapidly as understanding dawned. You were never hiding. You were positioning yourselves to observe their operations up close. Every time humans appeared to help during a crisis, you were gathering intelligence, added Zorn from his water tank. Medical aid was your cover for reconnaissance. Medical aid was never just cover, Chun corrected firmly. Every life we saved, every problem we solved, every relationship we built, all of that mattered. The intelligence gathering was secondary. Secondary? Hosh's rocky skin scraped as he leaned forward. You claim military intelligence was less important than helping random strangers? Yes, Chun said simply. Because the intelligence was useless without allies willing to act on it. New displays activated, showing communication networks spanning the galaxy. Thousands of connections linking species, worlds, and organizations. Most council members had never seen anything like it. What is this? Thylex asked. The real preparation, Chun answered. For 30 years, humans have built relationships across the galaxy. Every species we helped, every world we aided, every problem we solved, created bonds of trust and cooperation. The scope of it was staggering. Human medical teams had treated patients on over 800 worlds. Human engineers had repaired infrastructure on 300 planets. Human scientists had shared knowledge with 500 different species. You created a shadow network, Rex realized. Independent of council authority, unknown to most governments. We created a community, Chun said, based on mutual aid rather than political agreements. When species help each other without seeking profit or territory, strong relationships form naturally. Counselor Yith studied the network displays with growing amazement. The connections reach into every sector of the galaxy. Even species that refuse council membership are included. Especially those species, Chun confirmed. The council represents governments and large civilizations. But most people in the galaxy belong to smaller communities, colonies, stations, research outposts, trade settlements. These people have been ignored by major powers, but desperately need assistance. And you provided that assistance, Neem said, understanding the strategy. Building loyalty among populations that other species overlooked. We provided help where it was needed, Chun explained. Humans believe that every life has value, regardless of species or political importance. Helping others is simply what decent people do. The moral conviction in her voice reminded the council why humans had seemed so strange during first contact. Most species approach galactic relationships through the lens of advantage and competition. Humans apparently operated from entirely different principles. This is all very noble, Ash said skeptically. But how does helping refugees defeat the Vorthan Empire? Kindness cannot stop planet-killer weapons. Chun smiled again, and this time her expression carried a hint of satisfaction. Watch what happens when you ask 800 worlds for help. The main display shifted to show real-time communications across the galaxy. Message after message flooded in, all directed to human coordination centers. Offers of ships, weapons, supplies, personnel, technological assistance, strategic information, and more. The Kepler colony offers their entire mining fleet, Chun read from the incoming data. 47 heavy cargo vessels converted for combat support. The Traxel survivors share their knowledge of Vorthan interrogation techniques. The Spiral Federation refugees provide detailed maps of Vorthan supply routes. More offers appeared every second. Species that had never cooperated with each other were volunteering to join a unified resistance. Groups that barely qualified as space-capable were offering whatever they could contribute. The Crystalline Collective reveals they have been secretly developing new shield technologies while in exile. Chun continued. The Andorian Federation admits they only pretended to surrender while moving their fleet to hidden positions. Rex's serpentine body uncoiled as he stared at the displays. These species were supposed to be defeated. Broken. How are they organizing so quickly? They were never broken, Chun explained. Fear and despair kept them from acting independently, but they never stopped hoping for a chance to fight back. Humans simply provided the coordination they needed. But the technology, Thylax protested. You show countermeasures against Vorthan weapons, then our best scientists could never develop. Because your scientists worked in isolation, Chun replied. Human researchers spent 30 years studying alien technology from hundreds of different species. We learned techniques that no single civilization could discover alone. New schematics appeared, showing hybrid weapon systems that combine technologies from dozens of different species. Shield generators using crystalline technology powered by Zephyrian energy cells. Communication arrays mixing human encryption with Andorian quantum relays. This should be impossible, Neem said, examining the technical specifications. These species have completely different technological approaches. Their systems should not be compatible. They are not naturally compatible, Chun agreed. Making them work together required extensive adaptation and innovation. Human engineers have spent decades developing interface technologies to bridge these gaps. Why? Asked Zorn. Why invest such enormous effort in technological integration? Because diversity creates strength, Chun answered. Every species develops different solutions to common problems. By combining the best ideas from multiple civilizations, you can create capabilities that exceed anything possible alone. The concept was revolutionary. Most species guarded their technology jealously, sharing only basic information with allies. The idea of deliberately mixing technological approaches from different civilizations had never been seriously attempted. Even if this works, Ash said doubtfully, the Vorthans still outnumber everyone else. They have thousands of ships. Numbers matter less when you understand your enemy's weaknesses, Chun replied. Vorthan tactics rely on overwhelming force and psychological intimidation. They expect their enemies to fight traditionally, using predictable strategies. What makes you think they will not adapt? Rex asked. Because adaptation requires flexibility, and the Vorthan Empire is built on rigid hierarchy, Chun explained. Their commanders follow strict protocols. Their technology emphasizes standardization. Their entire culture values conformity over innovation. You are betting the galaxy on psychological analysis? Thylax asked incredulously. We are betting the galaxy on 3 decades of careful observation, Chun corrected. Human psychologists have studied Vorthan behavior patterns extensively. They are predictable because their empire discourages creative thinking. And if you are wrong? Chun's expression became serious. Then we fight anyway. Freedom is worth the risk. The chamber fell silent as delegates absorbed the scope of what humans had accomplished. A galaxy-spanning network of relationships. Hybrid technologies that should not exist. Intelligence about enemy weaknesses gathered over decades. Most importantly, hope where there had been none. How many ships can you muster? Thylax finally asked. The human fleet consists of exactly 47 vessels, Chun replied. But the Allied fleet will include over 12,000 ships from 230 different species. 12,000 ships? Rex repeated in amazement. Including converted civilian vessels, repurposed mining equipment, and experimental prototypes that have never been tested in combat, Chun admitted. Not the largest fleet in history, but the most diverse. You are asking us to trust our survival to a collection of refugees and miners, led by the species we dismissed as irrelevant. Ash said bluntly. Chun nodded. Yes, that is exactly what we are asking. The war began not with massive fleet battles, but with 1,000 small actions across the galaxy. Vorthan supply convoys found their routes blocked by asteroid fields that had not existed the day before. Communication relays suffered mysterious technical failures. Worlds thought fully conquered suddenly had the tools and knowledge to resist occupation forces. In the council chamber, delegates watched real-time reports with growing amazement. The coordinated resistance was unlike anything in galactic history. Kepler colony mining ships have severed the main supply line to Sector 7, reported Captain Chun, reading from her data displays. Crystalline collective shield generators are protecting refugee evacuation routes. Andorian Federation forces have reclaimed 3 occupied systems. Ambassador Thylex studied the tactical displays with confusion. How is this possible? These species were defeated months ago. They were never really defeated, Chun explained. Vorthan occupation forces were spread thin across conquered territory. When local populations received proper equipment and coordination, resistance became inevitable. The reports continued flooding in. Sabotaged weapon factories. Liberated prison camps. Successful evacuations of civilian populations. Each action seemed small individually, but together they created chaos throughout Vorthan territory. The enemy is responding, warned Counselor Vrex, monitoring Vorthan military communications. They are redirecting fleets from frontier expansion to deal with internal revolts. Exactly as predicted, Chun said calmly. Vorthan doctrine prioritizes territorial control over strategic flexibility. They cannot ignore rebellion in conquered space. But surely they will bring their main fleet to crush the resistance, protested Council Anim. When they concentrate their forces, your allies will be overwhelmed. Their main fleet is already moving, Chun confirmed. Admiral Catherine commands 8,000 warships heading toward the core resistance zones. They plan to end the rebellion with overwhelming force. 8,000 ships, whispered Zorn from his water tank. The largest military force in recorded history. And they are sailing into a trap, Chun said with quiet satisfaction. The main display shifted to show fleet movements across multiple star systems. Vorthan forces advanced in perfect formation, following standard Empire tactics. Their ships moved with mechanical precision, like pieces on a vast game board. Where is the Allied fleet? Asked Thylex. I see Vorthan ships, but where are your 12,000 vessels? Everywhere and nowhere, Chun replied mysteriously. Then the ambush began. The first Vorthan ships to enter the Proxima system found themselves surrounded by vessels that had appeared from empty space. Cloaked mining ships emerged from asteroid fields. Camouflaged scientific vessels activated weapon systems. Converted civilian transports revealed hidden missile launchers. How are they hiding entire fleets? Vrex demanded. Crystalline stealth technology, Zephyrian energy dampeners, and human sensor masking, Chun explained. 3 different approaches to invisibility, combined into something new. The battle was unlike anything in military records. Instead of massive ship formations exchanging fire, small groups of allied vessels struck from unexpected angles. They used hit-and-run tactics, superior maneuverability, and intimate knowledge of local space conditions. Vorthan ships are designed for direct confrontation, Chun narrated as the battle unfolded. Heavy armor, powerful weapons, overwhelming firepower. But they are slow and predictable. Your ships appear to be much faster, Neem observed. Hybrid engine technology. We combined speed enhancements from 17 different species. Allied vessels can outmaneuver anything the Vorthans have built. More importantly, the Allied fleet fought with coordination that seemed impossible. Ships from hundreds of different species moved together like a single organism. Communication flowed seamlessly between groups that had never worked together before. "How are you coordinating so many different command structures?" asked Hosh. "Human communication protocols designed for multi-species integration," Chan answered. "We spent decades learning how different species think and organize. Our systems translate not just language, but tactical concepts. The Vorthan fleet struggled to adapt to enemies that refused to fight conventionally. Their rigid command structure could not respond quickly to rapidly changing situations. Commanders waited for orders from higher authority while Allied ships struck and disappeared. Admiral Catherine is requesting reinforcements," Rex reported. "He has lost over 2,000 ships and gained no strategic advantage." "The reinforcements will not help," Chun predicted. "Vorthan tactical doctrine cannot handle distributed enemy forces using asymmetric warfare." She was proven correct. Additional Vorthan fleets arrived only to find themselves facing the same problems. Enemies that appeared from nowhere struck hard, then vanished before effective counterattacks could be organized. "This is impossible." Admiral Catherine's voice came through intercepted communications. "We are fighting ghosts that know our every move." "Not ghosts," Chen said quietly. "Just neighbors helping neighbors." The turning point came when Allied forces captured a Vorthan command ship intact. Human technical specialists, working with experts from dozens of species, quickly analyzed the ship's computer systems. "We have their fleet communication codes," Chun announced. "And more importantly, we have the location of the final solution device." The planet killer weapon sat in deep space, protected by a relatively small guard fleet. The Vorthans had assumed its secret location made it invulnerable. They had not planned for enemies with galaxy-spanning intelligence networks. "The weapon is defended by only 300 ships," Chun reported. "Emperor Vexstar never expected anyone to find it." 300 Vorthan ships are still formidable," Thylix warned. "Not against the entire Allied fleet," Chun replied. "Every available ship is converging on those coordinates." The attack on the final solution device lasted less than 1 hour. 12,000 Allied vessels, coordinated with precision that amazed military experts, overwhelmed the defenders completely. The planet killer weapon was captured intact, its massive power turned off forever. "Emperor Vexstar is attempting to negotiate," Vrex reported with amazement. "He offers to withdraw from conquered territory in exchange for safe passage to Vorthan home space. Tell him the terms are unconditional surrender," Chan said firmly. "Complete disarmament, war crimes trials for leadership, and reparations for damaged worlds." "He will refuse," predicted Neem. "Then we continue fighting until he accepts," Chan replied. "The galaxy has learned that bullies only understand strength." But Emperor Vextar did not refuse. Faced with total defeat and the loss of his ultimate weapon, the Vorthan Empire surrendered completely within 6 hours. The war that had threatened to destroy galactic civilization ended not with mutual annihilation, but with overwhelming victory for freedom in the aftermath. As celebrations spread across liberated worlds, the Council gathered to offer humanity the recognition they deserved. "Captain Chun," Ambassador Thylix said formally, "the Council unanimously votes to offer Earth the position of first among equals, with permanent leadership authority over galactic defense." Chun smiled and shook her head. "We respectfully decline." "Decline?" Rex was astonished. "Your species just saved the galaxy. You could claim any position you desired." "We have the position we want," Chun replied. "Humans prefer to help where help is needed, not to rule from positions of authority." "But surely you want some recognition?" asked Neem. "Official status, territorial rights, formal alliances?" We have recognition from the people we helped, Chun said. That means more to us than official titles. What will humans do now? Zorn asked from his tank. What we have always done, Chun answered. We will return to our work. There are still worlds that need medical assistance, still people who need help rebuilding their lives, still problems that need solving. You will simply disappear again? Thylex asked. We will be around, Chen said with a slight smile that had become familiar to the council. If you need us, you will know how to find us. As human ships once again scattered to the far reaches of space, the council delegates sat in thoughtful silence. They had learned something profound about the quiet species from Sol 3. They were never hiding from us, Rex finally said. They were preparing for the day we would need them. And they never wanted anything in return, Neem added. No territory, no political power, no recognition. Just the satisfaction of helping others. Zorn mused. Ambassador Thylex activated his official recording device to add a new entry to the council records. Where humanity had once been classified as isolated non-threat, he now wrote, Strategic partner, approach with respect. We should have listened to them 30 years ago, he said quietly. Would we have believed them? Asked Hosh. No, Thylex admitted. We thought power came from weapons and territory. We never understood that true strength comes from the relationships you build and the trust you earn. Now we know, Rex said. Humans did not walk silently because they were weak or afraid. They walked silently because silence was their strategy. And we regret ever underestimating them, Neem added. The council chamber fell quiet as delegates contemplated their changed universe. The greatest threat in galactic history had been defeated not by superior technology or massive fleets,